Okay, so today we're going to work on our geometry review. First thing I want to review is lines and angles. What are the four main types of angles? You can show me with your air writing if you want. What are the four main types of angles? Acute, looks like this. Okay, what else? Obtuse. Well, what's the 90-degree angle called? A right angle. And then what else? No, what's this one? Straight. And what other one did I show you with the flip of the wrist? What's that called? Oh, my goodness. Reflex. Okay. All right, so let's actually talk about the definitions of these. A right angle has a 90-degree angle. It's exactly 90 degrees, right? An acute angle is less than 90 degrees. And an obtuse is what? More than 90, but less than 180. That's the definition. More than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. And a straight angle is exactly 180 degrees. And remember, a reflex angle is greater than 180 degrees, but less than 360. Congruent angles, that means that the angles are the same. So two angles that have the same measure are called congruent angles. I have angle ABC, which is 30 degrees, and I have angle DEF, which is 30 degrees. So these two angles are congruent. Congruent angles have the same shape and size. Adjacent angles. What does adjacent mean? You guys remember what that word adjacent means? No, they're not on opposites, but it does have something to do with their sides. No, they're not the same size necessarily. Adjacent means they're right next to each other. So what's another way to say that? Side by side, remember? That's two angles that have a common vertex and a common ray. They're called adjacent angles. And a lot of times, at least in my daughter's geometry class that she took about a year ago. No, it's about 2 years ago. They were calling this side by side. So adjacent, side by side, linear, remember when we talked about those types of angles? So when you have two angles that are side by side, you have angle ABD and angle DBC. They both have the same vertex middle, but their sides are different, and they both have a common ray. The ray is ray BD. So this is the situation where you have adjacent or side by side or what's called linear angles. You might hear it with those three different terms. Angle ABD and angle DBC are adjacent. They don't overlap. Now, these are two angles that have a common vertex and a common ray, and they're also adjacent. Now, what makes it not adjacent is that they're not side by side. Vertically opposite angles, you guys have seen this before. Vertically opposite angles are pairs of angles formed by two lines intersecting at a point. So you have to have two lines intersecting, and then what I told you guys to remember is opposite angles are congruent, or opposite angles are equal is the way that we were saying it. So if I have these four angles that are created with this intersection of two crossing lines, I know that angle APC and angle BPD are opposite vertical angles, which means they're equal. Then I know that APB and CPD are also opposite angles, and they are congruent or the same size or equal, whichever way you want to say it. So don't forget your vertical angles where opposite angles are equal, and I think that's what V was talking about. Okay, so that's the official notation for it, is to write down the angle and then the equal sign. Write down the angle and then the equal sign. Sometimes you'll see a little squirrely above here, which means approximately equal. But it's the same situation, same theorem. What are complementary angles? Who remembers? Complementary angles are what kind of angles? They are two angles that total 90 degrees. Do they have to be adjacent? Do they? No. They don't have to be adjacent to be complementary. So as long as it totals exactly 90 degrees, it's complementary to one another. So if the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then they are called complementary. Angle ABC and angle DEF are complementary because when they total 90 degrees. So complementary angles total 90 degrees, and they do not have to be adjacent. And this is just a review. You guys should have all this. You already know this stuff. Okay, so we're going to continue. What happens if the sum of the two angles is more than 90 degrees but less than 90 degrees? What does it say right here? Not complementary angles. They have to total exactly 90 degrees to be called complementary. They cannot total 91 degrees. So an angle that's 70 degrees and an angle that's 30 degrees, when you add them, you get 100, and it's not complementary. Okay, what do supplementary angles total? What do supplementary angles total? It's a good thing I'm reviewing angles, huh? 180 degrees. Do they have to be adjacent? No. Okay? So if I have a 100-degree angle and I add it to an 80-degree angle, they are supplementary because their sums are 180 degrees. This should just be a review. We did a lot of supplementary angles at the beginning of our geometry quest. So if the sum of an angle is more than 180 or less than 180, it is not supplementary. Here's a situation where we have 110 plus 80, which is 190 degrees. So these two angles are not supplementary because they do not total exactly 180 degrees. So you need to know when the situation is true and when the situation is not true. Huh? No, they're not even adjacent. It doesn't matter. They have no relationship because they don't total 180 degrees. So there's no special relationship between them. Okay? I do have quite a few questions where I'm going to be asking you if something is false or something is true. So you need to know when a situation is true and when a situation is false. Like the last part of your study guide has questions that are like that. If any part of the statement is false, then the entire statement is false. So that's how you guys have to answer those questions, okay? Linear pair of angles remember, two adjacent supplementary angles are called linear pair of angles, okay? So linear means that they're adjacent side by side. They're on one line. 60 plus 120 is 180 degrees. So this is a straight angle or a linear pair of angles situation. And you guys know that. You know it's supplementary. Okay, now let's see if you guys remember some of this stuff. We're going to do a little testing here. If angle 1 is 85 degrees, what is angle 4? If angle 1 is 85 degrees, what is angle 4? What's the relationship between angle 1 and angle 4? 55? No. So they should total 180. So if I told you angle 1 is 85, then what's angle 4? 95. Okay. Angle 4 would be 95. I take 180 and subtract 85. And that will tell me what angle 4 is. Any questions on how we did that? Okay, let's do it. You guys are scaring me. All right, if angle 4 is 115 degrees, what's angle 2? What's the relationship between 4 and 2? What that mean, B? 65? What's the relationship? You were saying it's like this. What's this relationship mean? It is not 65. Look at the relationship. They're the same. So what would it be? Teresa? Okay, what's wrong with you people? Angle 2 and angle 4 are opposite one another in a crossing line situation. They're vertical angles, so that means they're equal if they're opposite. You guys are trying to give me the supplementary side of the angle. That's not right. I asked you what's angle 2. That's not tricky. You're not reading. Excuse me. That's a question you shouldn't miss. Okay, who remembers what corresponding angles are? And a transversal. Well, it's not really zigzag. You need to pick up. You need to split the transversal in half and pick up these angles and throw them on top of these angles. No, corresponding. So 6 would be equal to what if I picked it up and dropped it? 8. 5 would be congruent to, 4 would be congruent to, and 3 would be congruent to. So you're just picking it up and throwing it on top of each other. They correspond. 4 is the same as 2, 3 is the same as 1, 5 is the same as 7, and 6 is the same as 8. Just pick up the first set of vertical angles and drop them on the second set of vertical angles that are formed in a transversal. Okay, who remembers what alternate interior angles are? Alternate means what? Opposite. Okay, and interior means what? Inside. So let's get rid of the outsides. So what's congruent then? 6 and what? 6 and 2, 3 and 7. The opposite inside angles are equal. All right, what about alternate exterior? What does that mean? Opposite outside. So let's get rid of the inside ones. So which angles are equal? 4 and 8, I heard from Dodd. And what else? 5 and 1. Consecutive interior. What does that mean? Interior means what? Inside. So let's just look at the inside. Consecutive interior angles are going to be not equal, but what? What are they going to be? Aren't they on the line? So if they're on the line, what's the relationship? Supplementary, which totals what? Okay. And, oh, did I go too fast on that, you guys? Let me go back. I think that went a little fast. So 3 and 2 total 180. 6 and 7 total 180. Okay? Because they're supplementary. All right. Pairs of angles formed by a transversal. Remember, a transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines at different points, and it's called a transversal. And these two lines have to be parallel, equidistant from one another, to form these angles. So let me pop them in. So that's where that bisects the two parallel lines. You know that you have a transversal situation. Here are the 8 angles that are formed. We went over corresponding angles. Just pick up the top and drop it. Pick up this top set and drop it on top of the second set, and then you can figure out what angles are corresponding. I think this was more complicated than the way I did it before, okay? But it's the same thing. So it doesn't matter how they label it, that relationship of corresponding angles stays the same. Alternate angles, remember opposites. So the opposites of a transversal at different intersecting points are equal. So this angle here is equal to that angle there, and this angle here is equal to that angle there. We called it alternate interior. That's another way to say it. Now there's a reason why I'm going over this. It's because you guys are going to have to do, you're going to have to find some angles. But what's another strategy that I've taught you that uses these rules, but it's just a quick way to remember how to figure out things? What method did I teach you for transversals? Anybody remember before we start doing some? For transversals, I give you one and you guys can give me the other 7 angles in a transversal. How? Zigzag, okay? Interior angles, remember that your interior angles are supplementary. So I want you guys to remember these relationships when we start figuring out missing angles. So when it's inside, interior, and you add them up, they're going to add up to 180, which means that they're supplementary. So let's do a little test to see how much you guys remember. Name the pairs of the following angles formed by a transversal. How would I name these? What type of relationship is this angle and that angle? Alternate, well, they're alternate angles, but tell me the location. Interior, okay? Alternate interior. Alternate interior. What about this one and this one? These two little tan ones or brown ones, what would that be? It's the first one that I reviewed, you guys. Come on. What's it called? The brown one and the brown one. Come on, what is the relationship? If I pick up this one and throw it on top of that one, what's it called? Oh my goodness, I thought I had a short memory. Look up, James. Corresponding angles are where you pick up the top transversal, the top part of the transversal, which are a set of vertical lines, and throw it on the second set of vertical lines. Come on, I went over that twice just a few minutes, not even a minute ago. You guys, wake up. That's no excuse. What about these two here? What are those called? Well, I hear the word interior. Okay. Are they opposite? Oh my goodness, you guys. Oh my goodness. Okay. I guess you guys will figure it out. All right, tell me what the missing angles are. What other angles are 67 degrees? 2, 8, and 6. No, why don't you say 7? If you do the zigzag, which one is it? Is it 6 or 7? So 67 degrees for 2, 67 degrees for 8, 67 degrees for 6. What about 1, 3, 5, and 7? How much does that measure? Which is? I want a number. No, it's not 112. It's 113. Yeah, so those will be 113. Okay, so if I give you 1, you should be able to give me the other 7 using the zigzag strategy. Okay? Okay, a blank triangle has no equal sides. What kind of triangle is that? A blank triangle. What kind of triangle is that? It's kind of cold in here. What's it called? We did this with triangle theory. What's a triangle that has no equal sides called? No, isosceles has 2 equal sides. I see everybody looking in their notes. What kind of triangle has no equal sides? No. It starts with an S. Oh my goodness. Isosceles starts with an I. And I just said it's not isosceles. Oh my gosh. I'm laughing because I don't want to cry. I mean, my gosh. Scalene. Oh my gosh. Scalene triangles have no equal sides, no equal angles, and not have any lines of symmetry. Okay? All right, now down there on the second question. A blank has 5 sides. So what polygon has 5 sides? Pentagon. Finally, somebody remember something. Okay? A pentagon has 5 sides, just like the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. Okay. A blank triangle has three angles that measure less than 90 degrees. What measures less than 90 degrees? What's that called? Acute. So I told you an acute triangle has all of the angles measuring less than 90 degrees. So this was in triangle theory, and if you weren't here, you probably didn't get it, and I don't think you were here, Rebecca. Okay, two lines that are equal distance apart and never intersect are what kind of lines? Parallel, 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 yes. Okay, you got a circle here. The measure around the outside of the circle is called what? Circumference. Now you guys are waking up. This line in the circle is the radius. Two angles that add up to 180 degrees are blank angles. Supplementary. Somebody got that one. A blank has four congruent sides and four 90-degree angles. A square or a rectangle, right? But for it to have four congruent sides, it really has to be what? A square. A triangle with one angle more than 90 degrees and two angles less than 90 degrees. It has one that's more than, so if an angle is more than 90 degrees, obtuse triangle, because I told you we could have an acute and an obtuse triangle. Somebody was listening to my triangle lecture. Good job, Dad. Okay, a blank triangle has two sides that are equal. Isosceles. A blank is a polygon with four sides. No, polygon. What polygon, what's the name of polygons with four sides? I told you there's like the rhombus, no, but what are they called with four sides? We know hexagon has 6 sides, octagon has 8 sides, pentagon has 5 sides. What's the one called with 4 sides? Quadrilateral. There's many quadrilaterals. A square is a quadrilateral. A rhombus is a quadrilateral. 4 sides. Quadrilateral. Quad means 4. And lateral means that you're going to have 2 equal sides on the side and 2 equal sides on the top and bottom. Okay, so that's quadrilateral. That's the first polygon I told you guys about. With 2 supplementary angles, if one angle is 123 degrees or 123 degrees, what is the other angle? You got to figure it out. Do some math. 57 what? Okay. 57 degrees. Don't you dare say millimeter. Okay, 2 angles that add up to 90 degrees are complementary. Good. A blank is formed by 2 rays joined at the vertex. What's that called? Angle. Vertical angles are opposite angles that are blank in measurement. Vertical angles are opposite angles that are what? We just talked about this on like 3 slides just a minute ago. What is it about vertical angles that you're supposed to remember? What's equal? Opposite sides are equal. So if you had said equal, same size, congruent, same thing, okay? Blank lines are 2 lines that intersect to form 2 right angles. What kind of lines are those? What kind of lines form 2 perpendicular, okay? A triangle with one 90-degree angle and two angles that are less than 90 degrees, again, is called a, no, 190 degree. With 190 degree. A right triangle, right? Okay. If you guys don't read carefully, you're going to get some of these problems wrong. It has to have one 90-degree angle. If it has a 190-degree angle, it's a right angle triangle. Come on, we did a whole bunch of stuff with right triangles. A series of points that goes on endlessly in both directions is called a what? What's it called? No, a series of points that goes on endlessly. We were drawing a whole bunch of them yesterday when we were doing the coordinate system. What was it that you were drawing yesterday? Thank you. A line is just a series of points that are connected that go on forever. Come on. What is the measure of the third angle? This is 30 and this is 30. What's this one? No. Oh. Stop guessing and give me the right answer, please. How would I do it, you guys? How many total degrees are in a triangle? And well, if it's 180 and I subtract 60, what should this be? No, it's not going to be 140. If the triangle totals 180 degrees, you're going to subtract 60, it's 120. This is so easy, I don't know why you guys are missing this. Okay, the unit used to measure angles is what? What? No, I didn't ask you for the tool. I said what is angles measured in? What unit? Thank you, degree. Yeah. What do you mean, what page are we on? We're on this page that's up here. Okay? If you can't even get these basic, simple problems, don't even go to your study packet yet, okay? The point at which two rays join together to form an angle is called, what's the point called? No, not intersecting. It starts with a V, but it's not vertical. Vertex, finally. I feel like I'm playing charades. I have to give you guys so many clues. Okay. Tell me what all the other angles are. If I tell you angle 1 is 125 degrees, what would angle 8 be? If angle 1 is 125 degrees, what is angle 8? 125. Yes, thank you. That shouldn't have even taken you guys 1 minute to think about. With two complementary angles, if angle 1 is 58 degrees, what's angle 2? How'd you get 42, Pon Santana? Good. Okay, 32 degrees. Take 90, subtract 58 degrees, you get 32 degrees because they're complementary. Okay, if I tell you angle 1 is 135 degrees, what's angle 2? Hello? Thank you. How did you get 55? Subtract what? Oh, it says 45, not 35. Did you say 45 or 35? Did I hear you wrong? Honey, if we do 55, that would be 190. It's 45. Okay, it's 45. You're going too fast. Okay, if angle 2 and 4 are what kind of angles? 2 and 4. What kind? Say that. I can't hear you. Well, you can say they're congruent, but why are they congruent? What theorem tells you that they're congruent? What's the name of the theory? These are not side by side. Yeah, what's that called, Bree? You know how to give me the air signal, but I want to know the vocabulary. You guys are really weak on your vocabulary. I think you do understand it. You just don't what it's called. I would think so, especially since you're taking a review quiz here. There's going to have some vocabulary in it. You better know. Aren't these vertical angles? Yeah. Come on, opposite angles are equal. That's how you know that they're equal. So you guys know that it's equal, but you don't know why it's equal. So I told you, in a typical geometry class, you would have to do proofs to tell me why this is true. Okay? Okay, what is the measure of the other angle? This one's 50. What's this one? 130. Yeah, you should be able to do that in your head. So you guys should know your formulas. You already reviewed the formulas on Tuesday. Pay attention and answer these questions. All right. You shouldn't need a calculator. What is the perimeter of these three figures? Hurry up and do them, and then we'll go get the answers. Okay, Rebecca, come on. Write the perimeter down for all of these. I didn't ask you that question. I asked you, what's the perimeter for these three problems here? So take a moment and write down the perimeter. Did you guys get all three of them? Yeah. Okay. So for the first one, did you get 40? You have a hexagon. There are 6 sides. One side is 5 centimeters, so 5 times 6 is 30 or 40? No, is it 8 sides? I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. I can't even see it myself. So that's 40. 5 times 8 is 40. And it's linear, so you don't square it or cube it. It's just linear. It's one line all the way around. Okay, and James, did you get 27 inches for the second one? Right. How did you do that? You took 7 plus 9 plus 11. Right. Okay? And then number 3, how'd you get 30? No multiplication. We're not doing area. You add 12 plus 3, 12 plus 3. Opposite sides are equal. So if I have 3 here, I got 3 here. If I have 12 here, I have 12 here. So the total's 30. Any questions on perimeter? Okay? All right, now do the area. Everybody take a minute and do the area for these rectangles and that square. Number 1 is a square. Do the area. No, it's 48 what? It's not 48. It's not 48, James. This is a square and you're doing the area. Come up closer if you can't see. How do I find the area of a square? I take the side times the side. And that's 144. So I should have 144 meters squared. Okay, what about number 2? 285 what? That shouldn't be 285. You took 24 times 6. You shouldn't get a 5 on the end. Which one are you doing?
144.
This top one is 144. What's the second one? Is the second 144 as well? 144 what? Centimeters squared. Okay, and then what about number 3? Is that when you multiply 15 times 19? Okay, so let's do that. So the first one we took 12 times 12 and got 144. We should have meters squared there. I got to fix that. That should be square meters. This should be 144 square centimeters. It looks like I didn't change that. I must have been typing too fast. That bugs me, not having the right unit there. And then the last one would be square yards. So Teresa, you were trying to give me the answer to the last one, huh? All right, so that's what it should really look like. And remember, for the area of a square, it's side times side. The area for the rectangle is length times width. So that's how you do number 2 and number 3. And your units should be square units when you're talking about the area. It should always be squared. Now, I'm going to do volume in the next few minutes. What should volume be? What units? Cubic units, that's right. So you guys do these cubic unit ones. You have a cube on number 1, and then you have a rectangular prism on number 2, and a rectangular prism on number 3. So calculate those and tell me what you get. So you got 125 on the first one, and then what about the second one? 125 what? Inches cubed, cubed, okay? And then what about number 2? 35, 11, and 6, for those of you that can't see back in the back. 35 centimeters times 11 centimeters times 6 centimeters. $2,000 what? 2,365. And what about the last one? 4 times 13 times 9. 13 times 9.
You said 35 times 6 times 35 times 11 times 6.
Yeah, and that's how you do the cube. Isn't that what he said? Let me change it. Let me see. No, it's 2310. That's what I thought he said.
No, he said 2365.
Oh, okay. He did that wrong. And then, I need to change the units on this too. I forgot to do the units on this. Because this is bugging me. I hate when the units are wrong. It's because I couldn't do the square on these. Symbol. Did you guys get 468 on the last one? Okay, I've gotta change that. It bugs me. So cubic inches, cubic centimeters, and cubic meters. 468 is right.
468.
Yeah.
He had 568.
Okay. I think he's got it now. All right. Okay, what's the Pythagorean theorem? Oh my goodness. What's the Pythagorean theorem? Who can tell me? No, I shouldn't do it on Monday. I did the Pythagorean theorem when I did triangle theory. Come on. That was almost a week ago. You guys had a whole week. No, it's not H. A squared in a right triangle, if A and B are the measures of the legs and C is the hypotenuse, then A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Huh? I know you did it. You did it with your triangle theory. Okay? A is your height in your triangle, and B is your base. C is the diagonal or the hypotenuse, which is opposite your right angle. It's always the longest side. So for this problem, let me go ahead and draw it for you guys because I don't understand why you guys forgot this. This is something you can't forget. Here's your right triangle. A is equal to 12. B is equal to 16. And they want to know what C is. We said that A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So you're going to use substitution as your friend. We talked about substitution yesterday, didn't we? So I've got 12 squared plus 16 squared equals C squared. What's 12 squared? 144. What's 16 squared? So what is 144 plus 256? And then how am I going to find out what C is if I'm squaring C right now? What's the opposite? No, not divide. What's the opposite of squaring? No, square root. C is going to be the square root of 400. What's that? You can do that in your head. 200, not 200. 20. 20 times 20 is 400. You have to take the square of both sides to get C. So when I take the square root of C squared, I just have C by itself. And the square root of 400 is 20. Yeah, they usually give you two of them. On the GED, they usually give you two Pythagorean theorem. I've seen 3 on some of them. You can't forget this, okay? No, it's not going to be just like that. They might give you a shadow and a person and tell you what the triangle, and tell me the distance between the person and the building. And they tell you the height of the person. They tell you the length of the shadow. And you got to say how far away it is from the top of the building or the top of the person's head. That's a right triangle. So they might apply this actual theory, and you need to recognize that it is the Pythagorean theorem to get that side or that distance. No, it's 12 times 12. Yeah. Yes, Don. It's 400. That's if I'm looking for one of the legs. Well, I'm going to do one like that. Yeah, if they give you the hypotenuse, then you need to subtract instead of add them. Because you've already been given the hypotenuse. Okay? You just do it backwards. Okay? Now, why is this answer 3? Prove it to me. This is a situation like Dodd said. They gave me the hypotenuse. They gave me C. And they gave me A, which is the altitude. So let's redo that one up here. Wait, who took my, oh, here it is. It's like, who took my eraser? The answer to this problem is C is going to be 3. So let's figure it out. Why is that true? We don't know what B is. What did they say C was? So in my formula, I know that A is 4 squared. I don't know what B squared is. And C squared is 5. I'm just going to substitute. I do my substitution. So what's 4 squared? What's 5 squared? Now, to find b, I have to do the opposite to solve this equation. The opposite of adding 16 is to subtract 16. When I subtract 16, what do I get? 9. What's the square root of 9? So that's why it's 3. So what I did was I did the formula the same way. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. But because I don't know what b is, I have to subtract to figure it out. So that's what Don meant by subtracting. So I subtract 16 from both sides of that equation, and I get b squared is equal to 25 minus 16. So that's where the subtraction comes from. There's going to be about 2 or 3 of them on your test, so yeah. And you need to go get the triangle theory packet, and I also have the video right here. I'm going to be erasing this, so if you guys did not write these down, I just need to put the one we did yesterday and the one that we do today up there, okay? Did you want me to start you out on a couple of problems in the packet, or you think you got the packet done? That's b squared. Yeah, that's b squared. Honey, you don't have time to be doing all that. You need to be practicing some test questions.
Yeah, I was going to do the test on that.
Okay, now on today's packet, for the review, you guys, there are 50 questions in this packet on the study guide. So I want you to go through those 50 questions and make sure that you know what you know. Now listen, after you finish the packet, check your answers and write down how many you got right. That's part of the assignment today. Get some immediate feedback on how you did. Then, required labs today. You have an angle review lab, an angle quiz, because I know you guys forget about your angles that we learned at the very beginning 2 weeks ago. And then you have an online geometry part 1 quiz. Okay? Now these are the quizzes that I'm going to be looking for. Show what you know. YCGREZH9. And the review, which is B8UI BKNR. So you have quite a bit to do today, even though your packet's not that thick. Now let's maybe do 1 or 2 problems together so you guys can get started on these. These formula ones are the ones I started out with first because I know you guys should know how to do these real easily. What did you guys get for number 1? Because I know some of you probably have already done it. How do I do it?
Add them up.
Yeah, perimeter means to add it up.
14.27.
So what did you add?
3.8, 5.9, and 4.57.
No, we don't add 3.2. Why would we add the height? We're talking about perimeter, which means the sides. 10, 17, 18, 19, 22. So what did you guys get? 14.27? 14.27 what? What's the units? No, just feet. It's linear because it's perimeter. Okay? So when it says perimeter, I know I'm just going to add. What does the word area mean? Area means to multiply. So on area, what is it I'm going to multiply when I talk about a triangle? What's the area of a triangle equal to? What's the formula?
The base times
Base times height divided by 2. What's my base?
5.9.
5.9. What's my height? 3.2. And when you guys did this, what did you get? 188.8 is what you got. Why does that sound wrong? Did you multiply?
88.88.
Something's not right there. Did you put your decimals down?
18.88.
You get 9.44 square feet. Did you guys multiply? I wrote divide by 2. Okay, you forgot? 9.44. Okay.
Yeah, 9.44.
You guys scare me. Okay. That's not a quick trick question. You just need to know your formulas. Okay? All right. Number 3 is just another perimeter. I'm not going to do that one. And number 4 is just another area. I'm not going to do that one. You guys can do those two. 5 is perimeter. 6 is perimeter. 7 is area. So you guys should be able to do that. Let's do this L-shaped one. We haven't done these in a while. Okay, so first of all, what do I have to do? Separate it into 2 rectangles, right? Now, I don't know the width of this rectangle, but I know that I need to take 154 and subtract 56. And won't that give me 98, right? It'd be 98. So I need to take, this will be 1, and this will be 2. So on area 1, I've got 88 feet, and I'm going to multiply that by 98. How much is that? For area 1. Yeah, 88 times 98. What is that? 8,624. Okay, and then on area 2, I have a length of 56 feet and a width of 35. So what's 56 times 35? What's area 2? 1,900 what? 60. Okay. So when I add the 2 together for the entire area, what do I get? What number is that? 8? Yeah, 10,584, right? And what's the unit? It'll be feet squared or square feet, however you want to write it. Okay? Let me move this up a little bit. Yeah, you have to add the 2 areas once you get the areas, right?
So the first thing to do is subtract that 54, 154.
Well, yeah, because you have to get the length of this side. We don't have it, so we have to take 154, which is the horizontal length of the whole thing, and subtract the 56, which is for this part. That'll give me the 98 that's left. So, yeah, you have to do that when you're doing these L shapes. You have to get the length and the width of each section. So my total area is 10,584 feet squared. Okay? Don't forget how to do these L shapes, because sometimes they might do this in a word problem where you have a park with 2 shapes, or they might have a building that's L-shaped. So they'll do it in a story problem on your test, okay? Yeah, the nice word problem. You're just going to be applying the same exact formula, though. Okay? Were there any other formulas that you guys might have forgotten that are on here? Because I think this is pretty easy, this test. See, you got more formulas on page 4 with triangles and rectangles. Page 5 is nothing but transversals, which I know you guys know how to do. All you have to do is use Miss D's zigzag theory, and you'll be fine. And then let's see what's on page 6. We got the perimeter of a parallelogram, which you guys should know how to do. The area of a parallelogram. Remember the area of a parallelogram. Go to 26. The area of a parallelogram is equal to the base times the height. You don't need the side for the area.
3 times 3.3 times 2.2.
No. Are you on 26?
Oh, 26.
Yeah, 26 is a parallelogram. And you just take the base times the height.
7 times 35. 7 times 5 is 35.
Well, the base is 7 meters. And the height is 5 meters. So my answer should be 35 what? Meters squared. Yeah. And these are multiple choice too, so you know when you're doing those, you just need to know what the formulas are. And then on page 7 is the true and false stuff I told you that you were going to get, okay? Now you didn't have a lot of circle stuff in here, but there is a cylinder here. Remember what's the formula for a cylinder? Let's just write it down so you guys remember. What's the formula for the volume of a cylinder?